Hello, everyone. We're here. I cannot believe we're here. We're here. We're here. Look at my shirt. I've been ready. I've been ready. I've been ready. I bought the hoodie too. I bought this hoodie back at DC Fandom. You can barely see it. That's the suits, and then this is over here. On this side, it's the squad. Wide odd. Suicide Squad. I have been just hyped for this movie. I've been hyped for this movie before DC Fandom. These are the DC Fandom products that I have. Whenever they released them, they released merch at DC Fandom immediately after DC Fandom had ended. This is the main poster shirt type with all the characters and their names and stuff. Oh my god. I've been hyped for this movie since forever. Forever. I have been hyped for this movie since about 2018, 19? Was it in that year? It was late 2018 or early 2019. They announced that James Gunn was doing a Suicide Squad movie and it'd be R-rated. And I remember just being like, done. That's going to be great. He's going to fucking figure out whatever that first film was, and he's going to just improve on it in every way of the sense. And, of course, here, this is going to be a non-spoiler review. I do not want to get into spoilers. I don't want to get into that territory of doing spoilers. I don't see the point. Because, I'm doing this review early. You're getting this a week before the movie even comes out to main audiences. Before it's released in theaters and HBO Max on August 6th. Or you can go see the preview screenings worldwide on August 5th. Britain is getting it this week. Fucking the UK is going to be able to see it starting tomorrow. Good for them. I think it's a weird release, but that's however Warner Brothers is doing it. Not about the release, it's about the movie we're talking about. So yeah, just to let you know, non-spoilers. If you're worried about spoilers, I'm going to avoid that entirely in this review. I will get the spoiler review out, hopefully Friday, because I believe by that time people will have watched it on HBO Max on that Friday, or they will have seen it that Thursday in theaters if they really are looking forward to it and want a spoiler video, and you don't care when I fucking say who all dies and all the crazy shit that happens in this movie, and I can talk about it fully. That'll be next Friday, August 6th. I'll be seeing it again August 5th, and probably 5 more times after that. Just with everything I've been hyped for in this release. So yeah, I'm gonna get the spoiler review out next week, but right here is the non-spoiler review happening right. And just before that, before I drop the review on August 6th, the spoiler review for this new movie, simultaneously on August 5th, I'm going to have this pre-recorded video and I'm going to upload it of my spoiler review of the original 2016 Suicide Squad film, as you can see here. I'm going to get this one up and reviewed because I do want to talk about that one before you hear my thoughts on this one, because believe it or not, I do think that even with the films not having the same directors, same style, that studio interference, and the difference in the rating and the new characters and the amount that there is, I still feel that there's a comparison between them that has to be made to really talk about even more of what you need to go in depth when you talk about the Suicide Squad. So let's get into it right now. The Suicide Squad, just to get the basic plot. People at the Belle Reve prison, all these characters here, are basically tasked out on a mission to go to Corto Maltese and stop whatever is known as Project Starfish. That is the limit I will give you. There's a lot of elaborate characters. I'm going to talk about each of the people without getting into spoilers on them. I'm going to talk about the story. I'm going to talk about what I loved, what I didn't like. It's a lot to talk about. The spoiler review will probably be really long. I'm thinking. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking. And the good news is I could actually edit one if I want to do more on my own, because HBO Max will have it out, and I can use footage and show a little bit more within my review. So I'll have to probably do that for this movie. So, first of all, already, right off the bat, what works with this film? The characters. This is a film built around characters. This is not a film built around a very unique and creative narrative. It is a narrative that is a mission, people are sent out, maybe some twists and turns along the way. There might be some elements that weren't fully explained to the squad themselves. There's a lot to it. But for the most part, the story is a good basic story to build a platform on. And what James Gunn does best is excels at these wild characters that you would look at being like Polka Dot Man, or Weasel, or Peacemaker, Or Ratcatcher 2, like people like this. Characters that you would look at and go, well, that's fucking stupid. Like, that's a dumbass character. Like, what utilization am I going to care about this type of character? That, like, a polka dot man? What is he fucking shoots polka dots? What is he going to do? Like, what am I going to care about his character? But yet, James Gunn, the fucking genius he is, finds a way to make them funny, scary, weird, and yet sympathetic and lovable. He does it with every character in this movie. There's characters you hate to love, and love to hate. And there's characters you just straight up fucking love. And there's characters, eventually, you might even say, I straight up hate. But then even if you hate them, you're like, well, I kind of don't want them to die. I kind of like them too. Like, there's such a weird side to all these characters. He built such a unique path with every one of them. Let's go through it. I'll just go through it on my shirt. Bloodsport, played by Idris Elba. Practically what you've seen in the ads, he seems like he's the main front lead, and I would argue of all the group, he probably is more the front lead. Like, I would say they're all kind of leads in some of their own ways, because they all have their moments, but I would say Idris is at the peak. And Idris, man, as Bloodsport, I was really worried that it would just be like Deadshot ripoff, but with under the direction of James Gunn, it'd just be like a slightly better storytelling, nothing unique to Bloodsport. He'd be the straight man. It's hard to say he's the straight man. Like, he's got weird things about him too, and he's also fucking hilarious. He's used in a very comical way, because Idris is just this aggressive, threatening type. If you look at Idris Elba in the face, you kind of just like shit your pants. Idris is like, he's like somehow like the sexy British black guy and everything, and you're always like, oh, he's gonna be the straight man because of that. Like the character who plays everything straight, he's not weird or quirky. But then you also see things where he is that weird and quirky character, and they mesh both of them into this aggressive, hilarious, and yet kind of a dickhead, asshole, approachable character that you're like you love him and hate him, but like, you know, there's something deep down inside of him that's like good to him. Like, he's not a bad person. Like, it's so unique how they build off that character. Peacemaker, he's just a fucking douchey Captain America. That's what he's been advertised as. 100% nails it. And this, I'll say the first time, I love John Cena just because John Cena as a figure is like he symbolizes like a meme god. So anytime he's in something, I'm usually like, he usually surprises me. I'm usually like, oh, he's okay in Bumblebee. He was pretty funny in Blockers. Like, he's good in stuff. I'm not saying when it comes to serious stuff or emotional stuff he works. Here, fuck that, all that noise. Like, he is funny and leveled as you think he'll be. But when he gets to the serious or emotional moments that would come with Peacemaker at times, crushes it. He, like, absolutely fucking nails it. Like, it works. And I'm sure that's partly of James Gunn's direction, or it could generally be that John Cena is just increasingly getting better as an actor. He does great in this film. Polka Dot Man, another great character. Ratcatcher, the emotional core almost of the movie. King Shark, hilarious and unique what they do with him on a spin of King Shark. It's like King Shark, but like dumb and lovable. Who else? Mongol, like such a unique, like little, like this alien character. Like, what the fuck is she? And that's like the question of the whole movie. It's like, what the fuck is Mongol? Like, we don't even know her powers. Like, I'll say for her, Mongol, without spoilers, isn't really explained as a character. It's so much fun. Just the little bits we get with them. All these characters that get something. With Pete Davidson's Blackguard, you know, Javelin, TDK played by Nathan Fillion. They're also used for their moments. No one has a moment where they're just there, wiped off, they don't get to do shit, and it's like, fuck them. Everyone has a moment. Like, everyone has a thing that either is a core to the story, is important to a setup, is important because it's funny and someone will reference it later. Like, everyone has that moment. Like, no one is just left in the dust. Like, there are people who have more moments, because this is the Suicide Squad. People are going to die left and right for any reason that you would assume. It's like, if you've seen the tagline and the trailers and all, heard everything about it, you know a shitload of these people will die. But if you move that aside, you should just genuinely assume that this is James Gunn working with the characters. He's going to find something for all of them to do. In the first Suicide Squad, I will say, with a complaint right at the bat, without getting into much detail of what I think about the film fully, most of these characters don't do anything at all in this film. Like, I could argue that none of them do anything, really. They're all just very minimally used. If anyone who does shit in this movie, it's that Harley Quinn and Deadshot have development, El Diablo is the only one who's effective, and then Rick Flag as a character does one thing that stops the ending of the villain. Like, he kills the fucking villain. The villain kills the villain, but not necessarily. He still gets Cara Delevingne at the end, and they still fall in love and shit. And she doesn't die. It's like, what? But they all feel useless. Like, none of them have moments. And that's the core group. This has fucking 14 characters and like 8 side characters and then more villain plots than you could expect. And everyone has their moment and their scene and their emotional core and their funny moments and their action moments. Everyone has one. This is not a film where it's let go. And James Gunn just increases the insanity. Like, I was thinking like, oh, it's going to be like Deadpool 1 and 2 violent, where it's like, it's gory, but it's not like fucking like, you know, like when blood happens and shit flies on the screen, you're not going to react. You'll just be like, okay. Like, no, there are some kills in here. Genuinely, some that go by quick, but you just see it and you're just like, oh, fuck. Holy shit. Like, it's just violent and in any moments. And I think with James Gunn's weird style, I think he's able to get away with, even in the Guardians films, going straight from a very comedic scene to a very emotional scene to like a horror scene, like something that's really fucked up and disturbing, instantly within each other, because the tone he picks is so weird that if something weird or overshowy happens on screen, it doesn't feel like an overstretch. I can tell you, the audience I saw this with, because we had the advanced screening happening, the You Don't Know Squad screening that was been playing at a few theaters, James Gunn advertised it all over his social media. Within a minute, the audience is probably just like, okay, we're meeting one of our characters. I'll just it's not a spoiler, by the way. It's just a shot in the trailer where Michael Rooker is bouncing a ball in his jail cell. You meet Michael Rooker at the beginning. And what Michael Rooker does within that first minute, he does something while he's in that cell, and the whole audience just went, oh my fucking god. Like, just right at the bat, this lets you know, like, this doesn't pick a height. This doesn't pick, like, a limit. Like, well, it can't go that fucked up. It can, but it can. It can do whatever. James Gunn was giving, like, unlimited range. If there had been more blood, a bit more nudity, and probably, like, some more drug or sex references, I could honestly, like, with a few limits, see this hit NC-17. This is a hard R, 17 or older. Like, if this shit gets on Common Sense Media, it's not going to be one of those R's that gets a 15, 16, even 14 low ones that sometimes they do for, like, ages. This will hit the 17 or 18 mark. This is a brutal, violent, tons of language, a few things with nudity, like, in the movie. Like, it is a fueled film, and I want people to know that. I guess I'll get on the story path. Not a unique story, but with the characters that they move through the story and how they connect it with all these, and sometimes there's twists and turns. There's genuinely twists in this film that I was like, oh shit, really? Wow, I didn't expect this to happen. When that happens, it's like effective and it's like unique compared to other films I would see. Some films could just take this a straight away. If I'm not trying to be mean, but if this was a Marvel film fitting into its own origin of a story, because it has to connect in the MCU, it would be limited. This doesn't even like necessarily connect into the DCU. Like, I don't know what this is setting up, but I doubt Aquaman 2 is going to be like, oh, you know when this happened in Corto Maltese? Haha, let's reference it and bring all these characters in. Like, I don't feel like that's what DCU is now. I feel like, I'm hoping DC is learning that. Marvel is the continuity-based thing that's hyped through all the films. DC can be its own thing where it does unique, different stories on their own wavelengths. They don't have to interconnect in every fucking way to tell this long 23 history saga story. They can simply do something like Suicide Squad, and the audience will love it. This audience fucking adored it, and I guarantee you, once this is screened for IMAX and Dolby theaters, audiences are going to love it. This is getting praise on Rotten Tomatoes right now. It had 100% at one point. I think it's at a 98 now. I honestly suspect the lowest it'll go to will be 96, 97. It's not going to drop far, because everyone's just going to have that same vibe of love and energy after seeing the movie like I did. As soon as I got out of the theater, I was like, I want to talk spoilers, but I probably know I shouldn't today, and I should do that when everyone else can see the film who sees this review. I just want an early review out now because I just want to get my thoughts out. It's so much fucking fun. It never slows down. The best acts are the first and third, but that's because the second act is genuinely an act that is used to develop the characters, move slowly, give exposition, build up stuff. It has to build up stuff until you hit that movie low point where all the characters split up or there's an argument or something defective with this group, and then it'll be like, alright, now the final battle, now that they made it up. You know, it's that cliche plot graph. And that's the thing I thought. Second act is a lot of exposition and setup, like I'm saying. But let me tell you, like, it doesn't follow a normal plot graph. Like, there's not that moment where, you know, let's say this group is like, we're all good, and then they have that second act low point where they're like, all right, you know what, fuck you, I'm done with this group, and then they all split up and go their separate ways and come back together at the end because they learn together, they're better. It doesn't have that cliche message. The movie keeps going. It just constantly is filled with different twists that, like, if they left the scenario, they're fucked. And they let you know that if these guys betray in any way, even in a minimal extent where it would not even fuck up the mission that badly, Amanda Waller is watching them. And Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis, if you think she's scary in the first one, because I would be fair, she works in that first one, she's kind of frightening, and she clearly is a powerful woman as we see behind the scenes. It's so not shown well. Here it's shown and it's like, holy fuck, like, I don't like this bitch. Like, you will not like Amanda Waller, and I mean, that's clear from the marketing that you're probably going to be feared of her and fucking hate her. But no doubt there is. I don't want to get into Ratcatcher 2's backstory or Polka Dot Man's, because there's so many good things to say for people with spoilers on those two. I would say in the emotional way, those two are probably the emotional core. A little bit of Bloodsport, a little bit Peacemaker. There's some emotional core from separate characters in scenes, but like Ratcatcher and Polka Dot Man are like the two of the emotional core. Or if I could do two, like a Peacemaker does on the shirt. Where's Peacemaker at right here? Somewhere on... Oh, there he is. Doing the... That's literally his fucking logo. Like peace, but he's doing it like through the tongue, if you see him right here. That's hilarious. That's amazing. God, John Cena, he's such a douchebag. And the action, too. I didn't even talk about the action and the visuals. Visual effects, nothing here looks extremely fake or like unbelievable, or you're like... some bad visual effects, unlike the first Suicide Squad. Some awful CGI, or even some Marvel effects where I don't think they look good, or some other DCEU film effects where it looks a little bland. Like here, everything feels like it's genuinely there. That's probably because about 95% of the effects they said were practical. I think only the big CGI things were maybe some background drops, some animation CGI they flow in there at secret moments, and Starro. Like, I can't imagine much else that was like heavily CGI'd, because it looks so... there always. It looks like they just knew exactly how to do it. Makeup and hairstyling, there's some little things done with it that are very unique and very cool. You're just going to love it. I think everyone's going to have so much fun with this. They're going to be like, this is like Guardians of the Galaxy, but not like it at all. That film is family, it has its limits, and it goes on a graph of a story for the MCU. This can be its own thing, go fucking nuts, and it's going to shock people. I do think what will work is that if you're like me, I will let you know this. This is, again, not spoilers. If you're like me, you're going to look into this film and be like, okay, James Gunn has been saying a lot of people are going to die. You watch all these interviews, you hear a lot of talk about the film. You probably assume a lot are going to die, like, of these characters. Like, I was thinking in my head before going in, again, no spoilers of who dies or anything. I went in thinking, like, probably about, like, 10 of these characters will probably die, of, like, the main 14 to 16 that are advertised throughout all the trailers and shit. But I think an average audience member is going to look at that first Suicide Squad and not in depthly know, like, no one's going to know who the filmmakers are and what this film really is. They're just going to see Suicide Squad, characters they like, see a fun in the trailer, and think, oh, well, maybe like 2 or 3 of the characters will die. Like, assessed from everything, there are shocks and twists and turns of characters dying left and right because it's the Suicide Squad. It's what it should be. But I don't think an average audience is going to, not even just the kills, I don't think they're going to expect story elements, these jokes they put in there, the amount of crazy violence, some little innuendos. Like, there's so much shit in here that I don't think an audience member is just going to expect to be done in the Suicide Squad from James Gunn, just because maybe they only know James Gunn as Guardians of the Galaxy guy, or they don't know who directed this at all. They just went in to go see a movie. And with all that being said, I'm in love with this film. I adore it. My minimalist complaint is there's like maybe 1 or 2 scenes throughout the entire film that feel kind of slow-paced, or like aren't like a huge fucking push of like excitement in them, and that's just because all the other scenes are so exciting. But then I thought about it after, and I'm like, if they didn't have those scenes, then like these 2 parts would not fit with the story if they just didn't have them here. And then I can't even complain. Like, they're still enjoyable. They're just slower scenes than others. And I went, that complaint doesn't even add up. And I went, oh, like, if I'm gonna nitpick, what am I gonna nitpick on? There's like nothing here to nitpick. I fucking adored it. I left the theater ecstatic. I wanted to go back instantly. I thought the visuals, the action, the characters, the story, the comedy, the horror, the drama, the emotions, everything. I thought it fit together perfectly. Like, when I saw this many characters, I first thought that the movie might be like a 2.5-hour film, like he has to deal with a lot. And the film is 2 hours and 12 minutes, and while that's true, 9 minutes that is credit, so realistically you're just looking at a little bit over 2-hour film. And with what it does in just those 2 hours and like a couple little minutes, fucking excellent. It does so much. And you already probably heard that the Peacemaker series, with John Cena's Peacemaker series, is coming in January. They've talked about it so much. It's been filming forever. I can't wait. Whatever they do with this character, I'm all in. They need to return to the Suicide Squad, I'm all in. If they got weirder characters to use, I'm all fucking in. I'm not done with it. And just, yeah, great soundtrack too. Like, I mean, that shouldn't be a surprise, but just as good as the Guardian soundtracks. Maybe not that peak, because those are kind of surrounded about music in ways, but the soundtrack here is excellent. Like all James Gunn soundtracks, he knows exactly what to pick and what to fit the mood, and it always does. So, with that being said, no spoilers here, but I had a lot. You can clearly tell just from how long this review is. Unlike my Black Widow non-spoiler review, where I was just like, yeah, it was okay. I just didn't have much to say about that film, mainly because it just was an average film that got put in theaters and it was fun, I guess. This I have so much to say because it truly has more to talk about. I feel like when a film is so fucking great and then so fucking bad, there's so much to talk about with it. But then you just get like your average films in the middle. Not that they're the worst films. Like Black Widow I like more than a lot of shitty films I saw. But you just don't have much to say about it. Something like this, even if it's non-spoiler or a spoiler, I have so much to talk about. And I honestly can't believe I have to wait a week. I'm pissed I have to wait a week to see it. I want to see it right now again. Like, if I could, and it was just on HBO Max right now, luckily for me, at 2 a.m. right now, the time is, on July 30th, 2021, because I should have reviewed this like a few hours ago, but instead I decided to wait till 2 a.m. of the next day, basically. If I did review it earlier, like, I'd still immediately want to be in the mindset of watching this again. I don't know what else to say. Fuck yeah. Just James Gunn, please. Give him more shit to do. He's so good. And I would love another Suicide Squad or another thing he could do for DC. I want to see him back at DC. Like, seriously? There's some dark moments in this movie and horrifying moments I mentioned. Like, he doesn't have to just do that goofball humor that he always does. I mean, I like when he does it, but he doesn't have to for a film just to be great. And with that being said, I don't know if this will surprise anyone, but I don't think I've done a review on this channel where I've given something this score yet. I'm going to give the Suicide Squad a 10 out of 10. I think it's definitive. I think it's bold and great. It's so different and so exciting and fast that it instantly intrigues you to go back, and you're going to be talking about it after the movie's over forever. It won't leave your mind. It's fucking awesome. And if you're a fan of James Gunn like I am, or you wanted such a unique R-rated take on Suicide Squad, and even if you're not a fan of James Gunn, see this movie. I don't want this to fail. I'm really worried that there's not much word of mouth, but god damn it, does there need to be. So yeah, for now, I would say that's about it. Okay, whoa, I'm back. Before I go, forgot to mention very quickly the ending. I will be seeing The Green Knight, a film that I've been really looking forward to, tomorrow, or actually today. It's already July 30th, as I mentioned. I'm going to go see it tonight at 7 p.m., and I'm going to not get a review out for it because I'm pretty sure I'm going to have work in the morning early on Saturday and Sunday, so I don't want to tire myself that much. I want to get some fucking rest. But I could probably review it like Saturday afternoon, get the Green Knight review out, then I'm seeing Jungle Cruise Saturday night, or Saturday afternoon, and then I'm going to review that probably Sunday after I get off work, and then you'll get your Jungle Cruise review. So if you were wanting a review for Jungle Cruise and Green Knight, which I am looking forward a little bit to both, do expect those reviews to come. I'm not gapping that like they're nothing there. I will be seeing them, and I will be reviewing them. I'm looking forward to it. My nephew's going to see Jungle Cruise. Maybe I'll get a small clip of his thoughts if he wants to. And that's it. See the Suicide Squad when it comes out, August 5th. No fucking doubt, it's amazing. Goodbye.
Ratatouille, what do you got?
Bird.
Now it. Stay off the comm.